Welcome back to PC Police Chase. One wrong decision in just a few seconds can turn the streets into chaos. If you're ready for heart-pounding moments until the very end, let's begin right now. At approximately 7:31 p.m. on the 30th of August 2025, in Aurora, Colorado, an officer with the Aurora Police Department attempted to stop a vehicle for a traffic violation. Instead of pulling over, the driver accelerated away along East 6th Avenue. Only seconds later, the vehicle struck another car traveling eastbound, lost control, crossed over the median, and then collided head-on with another vehicle traveling westbound.
Get that shit.
Get on the ground.
Get that shit.
Get on the ground.
Oh, yeah. So, you ready for this? You ready for this?
Get on the ground.
You ready for this? You ready for this, huh? You ready for this, huh?
Get on the ground.
You ready for this?
After the multi-vehicle crash, the officer approached the heavily damaged car and ordered the occupants to show their hands and stay still. A man stepped out of the vehicle but refused to comply. Amid the chaos, officers spotted a handgun on the ground near him and immediately ordered him to move away from the weapon. Although the man did not pick up the gun, he continued advancing toward the officer aggressively, raising his hands in a fighting stance and repeatedly challenging the officer as the officer backed away to maintain distance. With the handgun still nearby and the risk that the man could close the distance enough to attack or reach the weapon, the officer opened fire. After the shots were fired, assisting units quickly arrived at the scene, secured the handgun, locked down the area, and began providing emergency medical aid.
Shut it all down. Sable, westbound, highway. What?
They just shot my dad. He didn't have no gun.
Did you find that gun?
He threw the gun.
I got your red right here, bro.
You got it? Okay.
Yeah.
You got it?
The police just shot my dad, man.
There's one in the head as well.
That was my dad, bro. That was my dad.
Following the incident, the man who was shot was identified as the driver who had fled from the initial traffic stop. He died at the scene after being struck multiple times. The handgun was safely recovered near the crashed vehicle. No officers were injured. In accordance with Aurora Police Department policy, the officer who fired was placed on paid administrative leave while the incident is investigated. What began as a simple traffic violation turned into two separate crashes, a handgun lying in the middle of the scene, and a deadly confrontation, all because the driver chose to run instead of stopping. At approximately 5:06 p.m. on Friday, the 19th of September, 2025, in Columbus, Ohio, officers with the Columbus Division of Police were patrolling in a marked police vehicle when they attempted to stop a car near Fairwood Avenue and Freebus Avenue. The driver refused to comply with the traffic stop and continued driving until the vehicle came to a stop in the 1400 block of Burstock Road. As soon as the car stopped, the driver opened the door and jumped out while holding a firearm in his hand. An officer immediately gave chase, repeatedly ordering him to stop and drop the gun. However, the man continued running with the firearm in his hand before suddenly turning back toward the officer, causing the situation to become extremely dangerous within just seconds.
Drop the gun! Put the gun down! Drop it!
10-3, shots fired.
Shots fired, 10-3. Shots fired.
Don't reach for the gun! Do not move! Do not move! Get the gun! Let's get him cuffed! Where are you headed?
A fucking leg! No! Oh! Oh! Oh!
Let's get some.
When the man turned back with the gun still in his hand, the pursuing officer opened fire, striking him. After the shot was fired, officers quickly moved in, ordering him not to move and not to touch the weapon. The firearm was pushed away to secure the scene, while the man was restrained and handcuffed at the location. Officers then discovered that he had been shot in both legs and immediately cut away his pant legs, applied bandages, and used tourniquets to control the bleeding until the Columbus Fire Department arrived and transported him to the hospital.
You got shears to cut these off? You got shears to cut these off? Make sure. Are you shot in your other leg? Are you shot in your other leg?
Yes!
Okay, another time.
After the incident was brought under control, authorities identified the driver as Deontis Williams Spencer. He was transported to a local hospital in stable condition and was later taken into custody. Williams Spencer faces charges of obstructing official business, a 5th-degree felony, and aggravated menacing, a 1st-degree misdemeanor. The girlfriend who was inside the vehicle with him was not charged, and no officers were injured in the incident. A traffic stop in Columbus escalated within seconds. The vehicle refused to stop, the driver ran with a gun, and one turn during the foot chase transformed the entire encounter into gunfire, tourniquets, and criminal charges. On the 8th of September 2025, in Terrebonne Parish, Louisiana State Police attempted to stop a 2023 Ford F-150 Raptor on Bull Run Road for a traffic investigation. The vehicle and its occupants were connected to an illegal narcotics investigation. At first, the driver appeared to comply with the stop, but within moments, the pickup suddenly accelerated away, leading troopers into a pursuit across multiple areas of Terrebonne Parish and Lafourche Parish.
All right, he's taking off down Bull Run Road. Region 2 in pursuit of a Ford Raptor Gray, heading towards 311 on Bull Run Road. Excess of 100 miles an hour. We're coming up to the end shortly if we can get a drone on standby. Bail, 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 bail.
The pursuit continued as the Ford sped through local roads before entering Lake Long Drive in Lafourche Parish, where the roadway eventually came to an end. At that point, a passenger opened the door and fled from the pickup on foot. While being pursued, the passenger pulled out a firearm, prompting an officer to open fire to stop the immediate threat. At the same time, the driver did not stop and instead continued driving the Ford through Lafourche Parish, bringing the pursuit back onto major roadways.
Yo, let me talk. I got shots fired. Suspect down. He's got a gun on him.
When the Ford entered Louisiana Highway 1 and approached the Lafort bypass area, the vehicle collided with another car, leaving the pickup damaged and unable to continue operating normally. The driver then exited the vehicle and attempted to hide by jumping into Bayou Lafourche. However, law enforcement quickly tightened the perimeter, and with assistance from a Lafourche Parish Sheriff's Office K-9 unit, the driver was taken into custody after trying to evade capture in the water.
It's in his hand.
It's in his hand.
All right.
It's in his hand.
Full cover.
Stand by.
Full cover. I'll take it.
After the incident was brought under control, authorities identified the driver as 4-6-year-old Jonah Parfait, while the passenger was identified as 3-1-year-old Darian Riff of Homa. Riff was shot after pulling a firearm while fleeing on foot and died at the scene despite emergency medical efforts. Parfait suffered non-life-threatening injuries during the crash and the subsequent arrest. The innocent driver struck by the Ford sustained only minor injuries and was transported to a nearby hospital. After being medically cleared, Parfait was booked into the Terrebonne Criminal Justice Complex on warrants charging him with aggravated flight from an officer, reckless operation, and resisting an officer. On the 1st of October 2025, in North Miami-Dade, Florida, a Florida Highway Patrol trooper spotted a white Honda driven by 19-year-old Abel Campos of Hialeah speeding along Interstate 95 near Northwest 151st Street. The vehicle was observed weaving through traffic and passing other vehicles on the shoulder, creating a serious risk of collision. When the trooper activated emergency lights and sirens to initiate a traffic stop, the driver refused to pull over and continued accelerating away. The pursuit quickly shifted from the regular interstate lanes into a construction zone, where the roadway was dusty, uneven, and filled with heavy equipment. The Honda continued speeding through the work area, weaving between obstacles and racing over unstable sections of pavement. The situation became even more dangerous when the vehicle made a U-turn and began driving the wrong way on the interstate, forcing pursuing units to proceed with extreme caution to avoid putting other motorists at risk. When the Honda struck the uneven bumps inside the construction zone, the vehicle briefly lifted off the roadway before continuing to lose stability. Seeing that the driver still showed no sign of stopping, the trooper closed in and executed a pit maneuver, striking the rear of the Honda to end the pursuit. The PIT caused the vehicle to spin out, lose its ability to continue fleeing, and come to a stop near construction equipment. Moments later, the driver exited the car and was subdued and arrested by officers without any further incident. After the arrest, authorities identified the driver as 19-year-old Abel Campos of Hialeah, Florida. Campos was booked into custody and now faces charges including fleeing and attempting to elude law enforcement at high speed, along with reckless driving causing property damage. The pursuit ended with no reported injuries, but the escape route took the Honda across the interstate shoulder, through a construction zone, into oncoming lanes, and finally ended with a PIT maneuver. Passing vehicles on the shoulder might have resulted in a serious citation, but the decision not to stop turned it into a criminal case, captured in the image of a car briefly lifting off the roadway before being brought to a violent stop. At approximately 6 p.m. on Thursday, the 9th of October 2025, in Las Cruces, New Mexico, police received a report of an aggressive man at Chili's Grill and Bar on Telshore Boulevard. The caller stated that the man had threatened customers and employees with a knife and a hammer. When the first officer arrived in the restaurant parking lot, he found the man sitting inside a silver Honda sedan and ordered him to step out of the vehicle.
What's up? Step out of the car. Hey, let me see your hands. Put your hands up. Put your hands up. I'm gonna tell you right now. 962 Central Gentry. He has a hammer in his hand coming towards me. Put your hands up right now. Put your hands up. I'm not gonna tell you again. Don't come any closer. Don't come any closer. Don't come any closer. I'm gonna tell you right now. Get down! Get down on the ground! Get down on the ground now!
Instead of complying with commands, the man grabbed a hammer from inside the vehicle, stepped out, and began advancing toward the officer. The officer immediately backed away to create distance while repeatedly ordering him to raise his hands, stop, and not come any closer. Over a distance of roughly 60 feet, the officer issued multiple repeated commands, but the man continued walking directly toward law enforcement while holding the hammer.
You're good, you're good.
You sure you good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Are you sure?
has some dinner. Here. Nice. Just on fire.
Just needs one?
Yeah, it's three.
I got it.
As the distance continued to close and the man still refused to stop, the officer fired 3 rounds, striking the man armed with the hammer. After the suspect fell to the ground, police quickly called fire and medical personnel to assist. Paramedics and officers at the scene began emergency medical aid, but the man did not survive and was pronounced dead at the scene.
Can you tell 555 for 33, please? On the CPR 1070.
Following the incident, authorities identified the man as 50-year-old Philip Adrian Mullen. The case began with a call about a man armed with a knife and a hammer threatening people inside the restaurant, then ended in a police shooting after Mullen advanced toward the first responding officer while holding the hammer. The officer was not injured. The restaurant parking lot was secured as investigators collected evidence, witness statements, and relevant video footage. What may have initially seemed like a disturbance call at a restaurant turned into a life-or-death encounter in the parking lot, where At approximately 6:08 p.m. on the 9th of September 2025, in Stockton, California, officers checked on an improperly parked vehicle near Doré Court and Pixie Drive. The 19-year-old man inside the vehicle refused commands, struggled with officers, and then ran from the scene. During the confrontation, an extended magazine and a loaded handgun fell to the ground. When the suspect continued moving toward the firearm despite repeated commands to stop, 2 Stockton officers opened fire, striking him near a parked car. Police then moved in, recovered the handgun and the related magazine, and began providing emergency medical aid while waiting for paramedics to arrive.
I can shoot you. Stop. Stop right now. I'm gonna fucking shoot you. Do you understand me? You're gonna get shot. Hey, mag.
Who's like, where he's running?
George 33, shots fired.
Following the incident, authorities identified the person who was shot as a 19-year-old male. Police recovered a loaded handgun at the scene, along with a fully loaded 17-round magazine. AMR medical personnel transported him to a local hospital. On Saturday, the 1st of November 2025, at the Dillard store located at 940 Town Center Parkway in Slidell, Louisiana, an on-duty employee received a report of an active shoplifting incident. When Sergeant Jeff Carrs of the Slidell Police Department approached the area inside the store, the woman suspected of stealing merchandise immediately abandoned the items she had intended to take and attempted to leave the store to avoid being detained.
Towards Old Navy. She's trying to get in the car. What? Silver Buick! Get out! Stop! Stop the vehicle! Stop it! HBH 031, Mississippi. HBH 031, Mississippi. Silver Buick going towards Marshall's.
When the sergeant attempted to stop her, the woman fled on foot into the parking lot. Outside, a man was already waiting in a vehicle and repeatedly honked the horn to signal his location. The woman quickly climbed into the passenger seat, and the driver immediately drove out of the parking lot. Because the sergeant was far from his patrol vehicle, a civilian who witnessed the incident offered to let him get into their car so he could continue following the suspects. While riding in the civilian's vehicle, the sergeant continuously updated the suspect's location over the radio so responding units could move in and intercept the fleeing vehicle.
You got it.
Okay, yep. Okay, there you go, sir. Thank you for your service.
Get out of the vehicle! Shut it off! Shut the vehicle off!
Stop. Do not move. Put your hands up.
Get out!
After several minutes of safely following the suspects through the area around the shopping center, other Slidell officers caught up and surrounded the suspect vehicle. Police ordered the occupants to turn off the engine, step out, and follow commands. Both individuals were then detained, handcuffed, and arrested at the scene without any further crashes or injuries. The timely assistance from the civilian helped officers avoid losing sight of the vehicle during the crucial first minutes of the incident.
Anything you say can hold you against you in the court of law.
You have the right to an attorney, have one present with you while you need question. You get out of 411, won't be appointed to represent you for any questioning. So at any time you exercise your right, you're not answering any question, make a statement. You understand your rights? You know exactly why. Get up.
After the arrest, authorities identified the woman as 3-4-year-old Kelsey Baird of Navarre, Florida, while the driver was identified as 4-3-year-old Eric Boudreaux of Biloxi, Mississippi. Boudreaux was charged with theft and resisting an officer by flight. Baird was charged with theft, resisting an officer by flight, and possession of a Schedule II controlled substance methamphetamine. What could have ended as a shoplifting case in the parking lot instead escalated when the accomplice honked the horn and chose to flee, turning the incident into an arrest involving additional charges, more evidence, and a rare moment where a civilian directly helped police catch the suspects. Early on the morning of the 31st of October 2025 in Thurston County, Washington, the Thurston County Sheriff's Office received a call from a resident reporting an active burglary at a business near Highway 99. According to the report, the suspect had forced open a door, cut through a security gate, and caused significant damage while stealing property, including a tractor, electrical equipment, and a white pickup truck. When law enforcement arrived at the scene, the stolen white pickup immediately left the area, triggering a nighttime pursuit.
Which way on Old 99? Suspects on lane here, overpass approaching case.
Spike 183rd overcross, pass approaching case.
Continuing westbound, approaching township, speed 80. Video 1213, Spikes, case 23rd.
Good Spike 183rd case.
Southbound traffic. About 3 K9s around the pursuit.
K9's in the first.
Hey, if you feel Bill, do not chase us. Let the dog get him. Oh, I want you to block off traffic so we don't get a T-bone collision if it comes through.
Good grapple, good grapple.
Location
18731 Nutmeg.
187.3.
The white pickup accelerated away through local roads, while TCSO units coordinated with Chehalis Tribal Police to control the vehicle's direction of travel. Instead of extending the pursuit with a risky PIT maneuver, a sergeant moved in behind the truck and deployed a grappler device using a specialized net to lock up the rear wheel. Just over 2 minutes into the pursuit, the pickup became tangled in the net, lost its ability to continue fleeing, and was forced to stop along the roadside. However, the moment the vehicle stopped, the driver opened the door and fled on foot into a residential area.
Gunshot! 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 I got cover in the house!
A K-9 unit was deployed to track the suspect, but during the search, the fleeing man suddenly fired toward pursuing officers, forcing them to take cover and establish a perimeter. An Olympia Police Department K-9 later located the suspect hiding in thick brush. Armed units maintained distance while command staff and negotiators worked to convince the man to drop his weapon. After nearly 30 minutes of negotiations, the suspect finally agreed to lie down on the ground and surrender. The firearm was later recovered inside a trash can near the area where he had been hiding.
Healthy choice. I was gonna get you some if you needed one. Just water? I got tons of water for you. Absolutely. I can get you a couple bottles of water. I can get you a doctor too. I just need you to come over here. All right.
After the arrest, authorities identified the suspect as a man with a serious criminal history, including 6 prior felony convictions related to methamphetamine, stolen property, and fleeing law enforcement, along with 13 previous convictions for other offenses such as assault, resisting arrest, and reckless driving. After receiving medical clearance, the suspect was transported to the Thurston County Jail and now faces multiple charges, including first-degree burglary, motor vehicle theft, attempted first-degree theft, first-degree malicious mischief, attempting to elude law enforcement, and unlawful possession of a firearm. Early on the morning of the 7th of November, 2025, in Rochester, Washington, Thurston County deputies were searching for a wanted man connected to a domestic violence case. The suspect was accused of first-degree theft and was also believed to be linked to residential burglary, criminal trespass, and a violation of a protection order before being found barricaded inside a motorhome.
We just communicate like this.
Yeah, he's coming up. I see his hands. I saw one hand. Hey, don't step there. You guys can. Down. Rock, come out now with your hands up, dude. Down. All right, take him.
After nearly an hour of unsuccessful negotiations, the suspect remained barricaded inside the motorhome and appeared highly agitated, reportedly under the influence of methamphetamine. Before deputies could execute the search warrant, the man suddenly rushed out holding a black object in his hand, which was later identified as a flashlight. Deputies deployed a taser, 40mm less lethal rounds, and K9 IGO to stop him, causing the suspect to fall to the ground before he was safely subdued and placed in handcuffs. After the arrest, the suspect was transported to a hospital for treatment of K9 bite injuries before being booked into the TCSO jail. He now faces multiple charges and warrants, including domestic violence-related residential burglary, first-degree criminal trespass, violation of a domestic violence protection order, unlawful possession of methamphetamine, resisting arrest, and obstructing law enforcement. A quiet, early morning arrest operation stretched nearly an hour after negotiations failed, but it ultimately ended with a taser, less lethal 40mm rounds, and a precise apprehension by K9 IGO instead of a forced entry that could have become far more dangerous. On the 29th of October, 2025, in Salt Lake City, Utah, the Salt Lake City Police Department's 911 dispatch received a call reporting that a man had just been assaulted near the area of 2000, 100 South, and 300 West. While the dispatcher was trying to confirm the exact location to send an ambulance, the caller said the victim was starting to regain consciousness, then abruptly hung up. When police called back, the caller only repeated that officers needed to get there quickly before hanging up again. 2 officers later arrived near the Chevron gas station and found a man sitting on the sidewalk with blood on his hand, but he was not clearly cooperating when officers tried to question him and offer medical assistance.
So what's going on?
I was within your side and I say
You get this every time you report somebody trying to fight us. Why are you always getting into fights out here?
what?
Why are you always getting into fights out here?
I'm not there.
I've been out on you like 2 or 3 times of you claiming that you were assaulted by somebody. The last time you had a pretty good black eye. So what's going on? We're trying to help you.
As the exchange remained unresolved, the man suddenly bent down, picked up several large decorative rocks from a planter, and placed them into his jacket pocket. Officers immediately ordered him to put the rocks down, but he refused to comply. Instead, he stood up holding a large rock in his hand and began walking away from the area. The officers maintained distance while repeatedly ordering him to drop the rock and warning nearby civilians to stay away. However, the man continued moving quickly along the sidewalk before suddenly crossing 300 West, forcing officers to pursue him on foot.
Put those back. They're not yours. Put them back. Put them back. Sit down. Sit down. Sit down. Sit down. Hey, boss. You want to do this over a rock?
Near the corner of 2000, 100 South, and 300 West, the man suddenly turned around and threw the large rock, striking the officer who was chasing him. Moments later, the officer opened fire, striking the man. Officers immediately moved in, placed him in handcuffs, called for medical assistance, and began rendering aid at the scene.
Drop the rock now!
Following the incident, the man was identified as 47-year-old Jose Hernandez. Hernandez was transported to the hospital but later died from the severity of his injuries, while the officer struck by the rock suffered non-life-threatening injuries. What began as a 911 call for assistance ultimately turned into a deadly police shooting and a mandatory investigation.